Hi everyone, welcome to our Interaction and Gender video project. I'm Laura, and in this video, my group and I will walk you through identity politics. We'll list definitions, examples, and even some problems that go along with it. But identity politics, by definition, is a tendency for people of a particular race, religion, or social background to form exclusive political alliances, moving away from traditional broad-based party politics. This definition exemplifies that there are a plethora of identity-based political forces that control the narrative in certain situations. My group member Diego will give you some background on identity politics.
So some background on identity politics is that we as Americans have been involved in identity politics since the forming of the Republic. The term identity politics came into use during the Civil Rights era, used by minority groups to form a coalition with people of the majority. This allows an excuse for people to organize politically around that special interest for the sole purpose of advancing that interest without concern or regard for any larger group or collective. Identity politics has also been for those who have been feeling oppressed to articulate their felt oppression in terms of their own experience by a process of consciousness raising. Now the term is popularly used when referring to national movements by groups like Black Lives Matter and the LGBTQ+ community. Now Kendall is going to talk about the pros and cons of identity politics.
So with everything, there's pros and cons that come along with it. And one of the good things about identity politics is it offers energy behind different groups as they separate into their true identity alignment, and it can propel things such as abolishment of slavery as people realize that this wasn't right, but it also, while being good, is also enforcing the Jim Crow laws that enforce slavery. So it's fueling both sides in this situation, and because of that, it's just a kind of a tricky concept. And this is still present today as we are currently having a reevaluation of many of our identities in our nation, but it's also making this re-identification a question come up in many Americans' eyes as they come to terms with new genders, for instance, as they're not only binary. And so some of the problems that also go with that are it's impacting our democracy, as Francis Fukuyama calls in one of his articles, one of the chief threats facing our democracies, because it's dividing the nation even further. And he states in his article that it's important that we accept the emerging identities in our country or reject them. And with the more groups splitting up, it makes it easier for these individuals to be forgotten and excluded. So it comes the time, are we going to fight for one broader subject or divide our power into many? And now Ashley's going to be talking about some current examples.
So identity politics is very vague, but generally refers to a discussion of issues pertaining to one's identity. And usually the focus is women, racial minorities, immigrants, and LGBTQ+ community. Identity politics has one side wanting to protect the status quo that has protected white men, straight people, cisgender, and Christian beliefs. And the other side wants the other groups to be more accepted into mainstream America. To name a few social issues that are classified as identity politics are Black Lives Matter, which mainly talks about police shootings of unarmed Black people, trans people using bathrooms, the fluidity of gender, and same-sex marriage. Even though it is legal in all 50 states, it was a very big issue. And now Yahaira is going to be talking about the conclusion.
As my previous group members explained, identity politics are extremely relevant in our country in this time. With the current formation of more groups, it can become difficult to keep up with the most current information. Although seemingly overwhelming at times, it is important to acknowledge the importance of the issues being raised by reformative groups. Without the recognition and validity that these social issues deserve, many people would continue to face injustices we now consider unacceptable. However, it is also valuable to think critically about certain issues and to not take everything at face value. Thinking of overall pros and cons can help guide and create a deeper understanding of the issue, as well as why some are opposed or for it. Thank you for listening to our presentation on identity politics, and this is our reference page.